Hi, my name is Father Mike Schmitz, and you're listening to the Bible in a Year podcast, where we encounter God's voice and live life through the lens of Scripture. The Bible in a Year podcast is brought to you by Ascension. Using the Great Adventure Bible timeline, we'll read all the way from Genesis to Revelation, discovering how the story of salvation unfolds and how we fit into that story today. It is Introduction to the Messianic Fulfillment, and it is our fourth Messianic checkpoint. And so we finally have reached the Gospel of St. Luke, and so that means today, we get to be joined by Jeff Cavins once again. So grateful for this. But before that, I just want to let you know that today's sponsor of this episode is Hallow. It's the largest and fastest growing app in the world, with millions of Catholics using it to grow deeper in their relationship with God. You can listen to all Bible in a Year episodes on Hallow. You can also add background noises like rain or Gregorian chant. You can adjust the speed so it goes really, really fast or even really, really slow. You can track your streak and even journal your takeaways. Hallow also offers thousands of meditations to help you deepen your prayer life and find peace in God.
They've got everything from a daily rosary, daily gospel, daily saint, meditations for anxiety and stress, Bible stories to help you fall asleep, peaceful Christian music, Gregorian chant, challenges for Lent and Advent, and so much more. You can pray and reflect with everyone from myself, Father Mike, Bishop Barron, Jonathan Rumi, Father Mark Mary, Dr. Scott Hahn, Sister Miriam, Leah Darrow, and many, many more.
Hallow is rooted in the Catholic faith, but it's an incredible resource for any Christian looking to deepen their relationship with God. You don't have to just take our word for it. You can download it yourself today on the App Store and give it a try. There is a completely free version of the app with a ton of great content. But if you want to unlock the full set of thousands of meditations for free, you can go to hallow.com/BibleInAYear for a free 3-month trial. So that's hallow.com/BibleInAYear for a free 3-month trial. That being said, Jeff, welcome. And we're talking about Luke today.
Yes, we are. And you know what? It literally feels like just yesterday that we began all of this. And here we are. We're in the New Testament. It's the final gospel of the four. And what an adventure. What an adventure. Let me ask you, Father, because no one interviews you. What do you think so far about all of this?
Oh, I think this has been an incredible journey. One of the things that keeps coming back every time I record an episode, and also every time I listen, because I do listen as well. I'm not just what's it called? I'm not just the president. I'm also the client. I'm not the president, but you know what I'm saying. Who's that guy? You know what I'm talking about? That commercial for the shaver?
No, I don't, but perhaps we could talk about Luke.
Maybe we'll talk about Luke. Okay, back to our, I will not only read this, but also listen. And one of the things that strikes, that was great. One of the things that strikes me is, I did the Great Adventure Bible timeline that you had created, and I'm so grateful for that. I've told so many people, even in the last week, I've told people that while I was an undergrad major in theology, and then I went to 5 years of seminary, so 9 years total studying theology, studying philosophy, and studying scripture. When I went through your Great Adventure Bible timeline, that was the one class, essentially like a class, where I thought, oh my gosh, that makes sense now. All the little pieces that I had gotten in all these other classes and all these other schools, all of a sudden, it all made sense. And so today, when we're hitting the Gospel of Luke, this is the Gospel that you use when it comes to the Great Adventure Bible timeline. It's not the Gospel of Mark or Matthew or John, but it's the Gospel of Luke into Acts. And I just thought, here we are. Finally, after all these days, after all this time, we're back here and in this place where we get to see the fulfillment of everything we've been listening to up till now.
Right. And, you mentioned the Great Adventure Bible Study. That comes in an 8-part version and a 24-week version, which is the long, journey through the entire Bible. And it's a great thing to do after Bible in a Year. If people are looking to go deeper, then start a group. Start a group in your church, in your home, and go deep into Scripture. And at the same time, keep going through the Bible in a year again. Soak yourself in Scripture. What's happening nationwide, I would say worldwide right now with Catholics in the Bible is historical. Catholics are studying the Bible more than ever and sharing Christ with people more than ever. And it's just a great time to be alive. But yeah, Luke, people always ask, what's your favorite gospel? And I usually say Matthew until I come to Luke. And then I say, it's probably Luke. But one of the reasons I like Luke so much is that originally Luke and Acts were one book. and then they were divided up for the purpose of keeping John as the fourth. And the synoptics, Matthew, Mark, and Luke, with synoptics meaning they all seem to come from the same source, same view. It was divided up, but he states his purpose in writing the gospel very, very clearly at the beginning. And he says he wanted to compile a carefully researched history of the life of Jesus. And so it's like a biography, really, of Jesus. And he's got the pedigree, too. Not only was he a physician, but he was a companion of Paul. And he was, this is a good trivia question, Father, who is the most prolific author in the New Testament?
I would guess Paul?
Luke.
Is it really?
Yes, it actually is. But you said...
Because he has more chapters.
Yes, you gave the answer, though, that most people would. Paul has more letters, but back to seminary.
Yeah, honestly, I told you I didn't learn much in school, so that's my defense.
Well, Paul has more books, but Luke has more content there. And so it was originally one book. And I love the way he begins. He's writing to a guy called Theophilus, which literally means loved by God. He says, "Oh, most excellent Theophilus." And the question's always going to come up, who's Theophilus? Nobody knows. There's a lot of guesses about it, even the guess that it belongs to generic Christians, people who love God. This is to you. So if we don't know who Theophilus is, we will read it as it's addressed to me, addressed to you. And
which is another great way to read the Bible in the first place.
Exactly. So what makes this gospel different than the others? Well, it is part of the group of synoptic gospels, but there are some things that make it different. For example, Luke really focuses on Jesus the man, or as some people have said, Jesus the ideal man. Now we know that he is God and he's man, the hypostatic union. He's one person, two natures, and that human nature is really brought out in Luke, the humanity of Jesus. It talks about him growing in wisdom and stature and favor with God. It talks about his temptation. He physically touches a leper. Sweat like drops comes from his head in Gethsemane. And he even eats a meal after the resurrection. So there's this real emphasis on the humanity of Jesus. And then as a Gentile, I forgot to tell you that, Luke was a Gentile doctor. And as a Gentile doctor, he seems to notice things that the other gospel writers didn't write about, like the outsiders, the Gentiles, the unexpected person in the narrative, like Zacchaeus, the tax collector, and